Sexual harassment is illegal under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's a federal law that was passed that protects workers from being subjected to sexual harassment at work. The law applies to employers who have 15 or more employees. Now, sexual harassment can take several different forms. It can be offensive touching, it can be offensive comments, dirty jokes, it can be someone making comments about someone's body parts, showing dirty pictures or pornography in the workplace. All of that can make a sexual harassment case, and it can be considered sexual harassment in the workplace. Also, conditioning any employment benefits upon having sex, such as a better shift if you will concede to sexual favors for the boss, something like that. It's also illegal to condition, being hired on any kind of sexual favors. So what should you do if you're subjected to sexual harassment in the workplace? Well, first, you should let the person who's harassing you know that you are offended by it and that you want it stopped immediately. Demand that it cease. That usually will resolve the problem. However, if it doesn't, then you should look at your company's policy on sexual harassment and follow that policy as far as any reporting. A lot of times you report it to a supervisor or to whoever the harasser's supervisor is. Also, sometimes they have hotlines where you can call and report the harassment. And then, of course, the human resource department for larger companies would probably be the appropriate place to report any sexual harassment. Now, if that doesn't resolve the problem and it continues, then you probably should talk to a lawyer about the case and let them assist you with it. In the meantime, it's always good to preserve the evidence if you can. A lot of times it's simply a swearing match between an employee and another employee or a supervisor on whether or not there has been harassment. So if you have recordings of it, that can be good evidence that it's taken place. Also, these days, a lot of times people text or email, and believe it or not, sexual harassment can take the form of a text or email, and people do that. That certainly leaves a paper trail of the harassment. So that's good evidence as well. It's also a good idea to keep a journal and document when different forms of harassment taking place, where it took place, and who was present. All of that is good evidence and can be used to substantiate a claim of sexual harassment. Once you contact a lawyer, the lawyer can assist you in putting together a charge of sexual harassment or a complaint of sexual harassment. And you would then file that charge with the EEOC, that's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. That's a federal agency, and that's where you have to begin with a sexual harassment claim. You file that charge with the EEOC, and the EEOC will investigate the charge, and they will issue a finding of whether they believe there was harassment or was not harassment. After they issue that finding, they'll issue what's called a right to sue letter. And at that point, you have 90 days to file a federal lawsuit for the harassment. Now, let's back up a minute to the amount of time you have to file a charge with the EEOC. You must file a charge within 180 days that the harassment occurred. So it's very important that if it's happening and you've reported it and it doesn't stop, that you go ahead and contact a lawyer and get assistance in putting that charge together right away so that the time does not run out on you. Another important thing that you need to be aware of is you are protected under the federal law from being retaliated against for making a charge of sexual harassment or for even reporting it to your supervisors or others in the company. Federal law protects you The employer is not allowed to fire you or to take any action against you based on you filing a charge of discrimination. And if they do, that creates another cause of action for the harassment. So those are the basics on sexual harassment. And if you have any questions, feel free to call our office.